We were robbed and walked in on the robber. Hey everyone, my name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And this is
JJ Cruise.
Thank you so much for clicking into the thumbnail and watching the video today. Today is kind of a wild story time with a very, very important lesson. But before we get to that, if you could do us a favor and hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, and hit the like button as well. We are trying to hit 30,000 subscribers, and it's completely free for you to do. So please join us on the road to 30K.
If you subscribe, you get things like cruise reviews, ship tours, cruise news, and very, very important travel tips like we're going to share today. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you watch all the way until the end, because we're going to share with you a rookie mistake that we made when traveling internationally and how you can avoid potentially losing, well, a lot of cash from your room in the rare chance that you end up in the situation that we did.
Before we get into this, I really want to stress that the reason why we aren't saying the name of the actual hotel is because it does not matter where it was, when it was. It all matters that this could happen anywhere, at any time, when you're traveling internationally or even in your own backyard. There are people out there that could always look out for themselves and not for your own best interest. So please take that to heart and know that is why. It's no secret that we like to travel a lot, and we've traveled a ton this year, especially internationally, everywhere from North America to Europe, and we even spent 70 days in Europe just a few months ago. With that comes a lot of hotel stays. Of course, you cannot always plan a huge vacation without having an Airbnb, a hotel, or some place to stay that is not your own home. With that being said, we stayed at a hotel that was gorgeous, beautiful, felt very comfortable, and as if we could be just like we are at home.
Also, when you're traveling, we had a decent amount of cash on hand because we were gone for so long, as well as some, our passports, some other valuables, some jewelry. We typically will take all of our stuff and we'll put it in the safe, we'll lock it up, and then we'll only open up that safe if we need it.
And a lot of times the safe is that safety reminder of you are still traveling, put stuff in that safe so that way it's locked up, good to go, which we did. And we did pretty much everywhere we went. Of course, this is where we are starting to get into the knowledge that that might not be the best answer. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a bit for your hotel stays abroad.
Now, this particular hotel that we were at, we were really, like Jared said, enjoying our stay there. We had gone to dinner. We came back to do a little bit of work because we do work and travel at the same time. There was a beautiful patio right outside our room. So we had opened up the glass doors. We took out our laptops. We were working away while we were sitting out there. Now, I thought I had heard someone come in the room, and I kind of turned around, didn't really see anyone, didn't think about it. And a couple of minutes later, turned around again, and I saw a maintenance man in the room.
And of course, we thought just first off, by the way, pitch dark outside, late at night, so you can see into the room. But as you know, very likely at night, you can't really see out of the room. It's kind of that reflective mirror look to where you can't really see outside because it's so pitch dark, but we could see in. And I immediately thought, oh yeah, that's right. We did order towels for our actual showers. We wanted an extra set because we showered twice that day. We wanted to be extra clean. And with that in mind, we were like, oh, maybe he's just bringing the towels. Although that's kind of weird because he's a maintenance person. So that's what our minds thought.
Regardless, I was like, oh, I'll run inside. So I open up the door and I see the man inside our safe. And I immediately know, okay, this guy was not bringing us towels. He's maybe working on the safe. And then I immediately was like, no, that's not it. He's taking from us. He saw me. I looked at him. He had our cash in hand. He threw down some of the cash, put his other hand in his pocket and said, I'm here to fix the lights. And I said, that's really strange because we are having no issues with our lights. And the only thing we've actually called the front desk about tonight is the towels. Now, the patio was a healthy distance away from where I was at this point, and Jared actually couldn't hear what was going on inside of the room.
Oh, I couldn't hear anything. And I thought, obviously innocently, that this guy was just in the wrong room. Maybe he thought there's an issue in here, and Jordan would just go ahead and let him know there's no issue. We do need some towels, but besides that, we don't need an issue. But I had no clue what was going on.
So you opened up the door, and what did you think immediately? Because there was a very awkward silence of the guy looking at me looking at the guy. You had to be like, okay, something feels a little bit off at this point.
Yeah, for me, I immediately thought, okay, the fact that Jordan is staring at me and this guy hasn't left yet means that there might be some kind of maybe language barrier issue. That's initially what I thought, but then I thought maybe something more. So I went out back to the patio, grabbed my phone, come back in, and by that time, the guy left because, of course, he was very nervous and was not wanting to be caught in the act of stealing money from us, which I had no clue was even happening at the time.
So Jared comes back in, and by the way, I didn't have my phone. I had left it on the patio. He comes back in, and I look at him and I say, that guy was in our safe taking our money. And he was like, oh my gosh, what? And so Jared takes off running, meets the guy in the hallway, and starts taking pictures of him so that we could report this. And the guy was really frazzled. He was acting like he really didn't understand what was going on. And he eventually just walked away from you. I got on the phone to call the security at the hotel as soon as this had happened. And they, of course, were very, very shocked to hear that this was occurring, asked us to send the pictures of the person, asked for all the details. So I was going through all of that as Jared was getting the pictures downloaded into a WhatsApp chat, basically, to send to the hotel staff.
And of course, this is one of those times where adrenaline catches in and you start going at a full pace, even though you probably feel like later on that might not have been the safest thing to do. It turns out that was probably the best but also worst thing I could have done. If this guy was dangerous, if this person wasn't someone that actually worked for the resort, or even if they did work for the hotel at where we were staying, that guy could have actually had something on him and could have hurt us. So I don't recommend ever doing this, but I did take my phone, got pictures, and sent it right to the security team. They were right on it, made sure that this person wasn't able to leave the actual hotel. But on top of this, we had to go through the story 3 or 4 times because we just wanted to make sure they understood all of the parts of this, that everything we saw was accurate and true. And honestly, without that picture, I don't know if it would have actually been helpful to know who this was. If there wasn't a camera that caught him in the act, literally, I don't know if anything would have been believed because it would have just been his word versus ours.
We went to the safe and we counted exactly what we had. We knew what we had come in with, so we knew that we had been missing $200. So we let the hotel staff know that as well. Here's the part of the story that is pretty rare, and one of the reasons we're not going to disclose where we were at the time. The hotel made it right. They let us know that they found the worker, that yes, indeed, he was stealing from us, and they brought us our cash back in hand, which Jared and I were both very, very shocked by. We thought that cash was just gone.
And of course, it wasn't the cash. That cash was probably stowed away somewhere, but they brought replacement cash. They believed us. They knew that we were correct. They let that employee go right away and said that employee is removed from the property immediately and will not be employed here anymore. At the end of the day, there's a couple things that, when telling this story, we want to note. First and foremost, there's a lot that goes into something like this. Part of us telling this story is to let you know of 2 things. One, of how you can be best safe out there while you're traveling, but also to realize that in the world you're living in around you, especially when you're abroad or in communities, there are going to be people that are really struggling and that they can do anything possible to get something for their family or for themselves to make sure that they can have a better life. That sometimes they're going to go out there and do things that were wrong. This guy, for example, Jordan can tell you, was petrified when he was caught. It wasn't this petrified of like, I'm going to hurt someone now, but petrified as in like, I hope I don't lose my job. It's the only thing I have, but I have to have some more money and I have to do this so I can get to a next level, or so I can get something for my family, which was one of the worst parts for us, I think, is having to tell someone that this person was stealing, because it's still, at the end of the day, wrong.
The other thing to note here, and this is probably the biggest tip that we can give, do not use your safe, especially when you are traveling internationally. That safe is there and somebody is going to have access to it. And it's most likely going to be a maintenance person or a security person that you don't know, have never met, and have no connection to. Now, this is something that had been told to us in the past, and Jared and I had just kind of completely forgot about it. But when you're bringing things like valuables, your passports, cash, it is way better to hide those in places that someone's not going to think to, to look for them. Maybe in your dirty clothes, maybe in your socks or in your shoes. Maybe you carry a small little personal safe with you that you keep in your suitcase that someone else doesn't have access to. We will not be using safes moving forward, specifically on land, because you just have no idea what kind of security is in place and what maintenance people, may or may not do. I will say a little caveat here. It's a little bit different, I think, for cruise ships.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's part of the beauty of cruising, is that you are on a highly, highly video cameraed and live feed that also crew can't go anywhere. They can't run off from the hotel and never come to the hotel again. They're stuck on a ship. Also, we love the crew. It's hard for us to believe that anyone would actually do that. But even if someone were to do that, it would be a lot more possible for them to get caught. So cruise ships, we feel like, might be a little bit different of a world out there. Of course, it can still happen anywhere, but that is something that we believe might be a little bit more accessible everywhere else except on cruises.
Now, we want to hear from you about your experience in hotels and cruise ships. Has anything like this ever happened to you? If so, do you have any tips to prevent it, or other tips that you might want to share with people in the comments? We would love for this video and the comment section to be a resource and a helpful place that people can come to really try and avoid this happening to them, because at the end of the day, we all work for these trips, for vacations, and we don't want our vacations to be ruined by someone else's desperate attempt to steal or take from you.
Yeah, and of course, another just random tip here. Try not to bring things that you don't need to bring while you're traveling. We know so many people that even bring a different ring for their marriage, so that way it's a little bit more disposable. If they do lose it in a pool or if someone steals it, it's not the end of the world. Same with watches and other jewelry. We all want to look and feel great, but sometimes those high-end luxury items are going to be the number one thing international local communities will see and know that you are now a target, because they see that you've got that money.
We hope that you found this video helpful. Again, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and until next time, see ya!